Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 3, Episode 35. I am your host, Eric, my main man right over there. Ron, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to bat away the fans. The women are trying to bust down the door in here.
You know, it's tough being a celebrity. You know that,
It
right?
is. It is.
So
I feel like the Beatles.
You know what? You know what you are today? You might be Who's the Bossa.
Yes.
Who's the Bossa? It is episode 35 of season 3. We are a weekly sports podcast covering all of the top sports stories going on in the world today. So excited. Hopefully you're joining us live. If you are, please continue to chime in during our show and we will talk to you as well. There is my man James tonight. How are you, brother? I am so glad you joined us. Let's go. We've got a ton to cover tonight. And we're going to start off with our leadoff story here, Ron, and that is going to be one Mr. Nick Bosa. So currently in a holdout with the San Francisco 49ers, we're going to bring a picture of him flexing and show you that he seems to think he controls everything right now. What are we looking at from a standpoint of the San Francisco 49ers season if they can't make this thing happen and get Nick Bosa to sign a deal?
Oh, you absolutely need him if you plan on going to a Super Bowl. Without him, you ain't going there. Let me tell you, you're not going to go there. And, you know, this actually doesn't surprise me because basically the past couple of years, the San Francisco 49ers have been garbage in the front office.
Yeah, listen, they're trying to save money. And I know your standpoint of Brock Purdy. You think he's pretty good according to you, but you think about the fact of a guy like this, it has such a big impact on your team. They're offensively talented, but you still got to question that quarterback and how good he's going to be.
Oh, look, I think he's played pretty well, right? But with that being said, do I want to go into the season with everything riding on Purdy? No.
You need this guy.
You need this guy. Without him, they're not going anywhere. Period.
So 25 years old, 18 and a half sacks last season, multiple defensive players of the year awards.
Already.
And again, they've had the number one defense the last couple of years. Like they've been in the top 3. Yeah. You cannot afford defense wins championships. We can all sit back and say how great it was that, you know, you got these Patrick Mahomes and all this offensive, but think about it. Chris Jones, who's also holding out with the Chiefs, how important those defensive guys that can disrupt the offense on the other side, because every team's going to score close to 30 points. It's just the league now.
Well,
but when you got
every team,
most of the time, but if you look at it, if a team's going to really have trouble, it's because you can't stop a certain guy on defense that's going to cause you to have to go 3 and outs or a turnover or something like that. Nick Bosa is that guy for San Francisco.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's one of the top 3 players in the league, to be honest with you, especially on defense. Look, I mean, you know, we talked years about guys like Von Miller, right? And now we're starting to talk about guys like TJ Watt, Nick Bosa. You know, there's also another Bosa.
Yes.
You know, those guys are starting to dominate, you know? I mean, we're in another generation of defensive great players. And when you start tallying up all of those important plays throughout games, those names start to repeat themselves. And, you know, I don't think I don't think we're going to be repeating, hey, Purdy just did 400 yards and, 4 touchdowns. I don't think we're going to be repeating that, right? So they're going to win it on the defensive side of the ball because I'm not sold on their total offense.
And I disagree with you, James, on this part. Listen, defenses are going to win championships. And the reason why I say that is even if you look at last season in the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in that Super Bowl, there was a key turnover in that game caused by Kansas City's defense that ultimately won them that championship because match point for point. Most teams can do that offensively. I know you have your disagreements on that, Ron, but if you look at it, it's harder to stop offensive players now than it was in the past. So when you have a solid defensive lineman or an outside linebacker that can rush the passer and create some of that havoc, all of a sudden your offense starts to have some issues where they're doing things that they're not commonly used to doing. They're not chucking it down the field 20, 30 yards because they got to get rid of it quicker. It starts to slow the game down on offense. Nick Bosa is so important to the San Francisco 49ers that I can't even believe that it's taken this long to just sign the guy.
Right. And it goes beyond that, Eric, right? Because we know the offensive part of the game is the focus and is what the league wants, right? So they've decided that, it's going to be much more difficult to play defense, right? So, those big plays matter a lot more. And if you can't get them, then you're going to struggle to make it to the playoffs, period. And those guys that do come up big tend to do it a lot, right? They tend to be in that spotlight. Everybody knows that they're coming, and you still can't stop them, right? You can only hope that you can delay their rush, in whatever position they are, whether they're a lineman or they're a linebacker or even a defensive back, so you got to just hold them off a bit, throw them off their game, but they still keep coming. And they always seem to get that big play at the big moment at the right time. And that is why guys like Nick Bosa are so important.
Yeah, and James put up a comment, but look at San Francisco's defense last year. It got them there, but couldn't win without a quarterback. Think about it. They've been in the last 3 NFC championship games.
Yeah.
They've gotten there. Again, last year without a quarterback, the quarterback got hurt during the game. They didn't really have a backup plan, and yet they still won the NFC championship game, had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You're not getting those opportunities if you don't have a guy like Nick Bosa. I don't even think they make the playoffs.
Right.
And that's crazy to think about.
I don't think so because, look, and I cannot wait till the preview show because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs even with Bosa.
Wow.
So I just not sold on the team structure, to be honest with you. I think they're going to blow it again somewhere along the lines, and it's going to be on that quarterback position because they're not going to have really a guy that's going to be able to step in there when Brock Purdy gets hurt again. And
Sam Darnold.
I think he will. Yeah, he's not going to do it.
Sam Darnold. Listen, you did mention it. So, this Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Sports Unfolded annual NFL preview show. We're bringing it to you live so you can talk. We cover all 32 teams. Don't miss that. And it's going to be a good one because I can tell you right now, this NFL season right now, if you're looking at it on paper, it looks absolutely crazy. The things we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I cannot wait till we talk about, that guy that we signed.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. But we're going to go on. Great discussion here. But we're going to talk some more NFL season starting up. I can't wait. This Thursday, James. NFL. This Thursday.
Oh, snap.
This Thursday. So the Minnesota Vikings have given tight end TJ Hawkinson the largest contract for a tight end in NFL history. Do you think he's worth it?
Okay. Let's put this in perspective, shall we? Wait, who's the best tight end in the league right now?
Travis Kelce.
Okay. So how are you paying this guy more than Travis Kelce? How are you paying him more? Can somebody justify the idiocy that is actually going on with salaries?
But I would look at it this way. I mean, the market's changing a little. 86 receptions, 6 touchdowns last season for Hawkinson between Minnesota and Detroit and Minnesota. Yep. So if you look at it from that standpoint, do you know who the second highest? So his contract, 4 years, $68.5 million, Ron, average $17.125 million a season.
Right.
Do you want to know who number 2 is?
Yeah, I got a feeling it's not Travis Kelce.
It isn't, but you want to guess? You want to take a guess? I mean, just throw a name out there.
I don't even know.
Darren Waller, who's now been traded to the New York Giants. Last season, 28 receptions, 3 touchdowns. He makes $17 million a season.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a problem. So obviously I'm paying Hawkinson more than I would Waller. But then George Kittle, $15 million a season. Last year, 60 receptions, 11 touchdowns. Travis Kelce comes in at 4 at $14.31 million. He had 110 receptions and 12 touchdowns. So he's doing the Tom Brady thing though, Kelce. He's like, I'll take less money if you can keep guys and put a team around us.
Smart man.
He wants to win. He wants to win championships. And honestly, it's helping the Kansas City Chiefs stay competitive every year because they can keep players around. So how this
that's the kind of guy, that's the guy that, you want on your team.
Yeah. Here's where I question it, Ron. TJ Hawkinson, very good player. I'm not going to say he's not a good player. I won't give a knock on him. But you got Justin Jefferson, who's by far the best wide receiver in the league right now. His contract's coming up in a couple years. You're not going to be able to afford both of these guys. Something's got to give, and you cannot afford to give up a guy with that much talent. That's like Randy Moss all over again in Minnesota, just saying, okay, we had enough of you. And he's not that same caliber player where he's creating problems off the field and doing all that stuff. So how do they justify this in 2 years when they got to pay Justin Jefferson? That's where the question would be.
Yeah, well, like I said, the salaries are getting way out of hand. It's ridiculous what they're doing. Look, I mean, there has to be some sort of pay scale. Like, I'm at the point now, and I've mentioned this before, Eric, and I really think it needs to happen. I know it's not going to, but I think it needs to because it's getting crazier and crazier.
The cap's going up, I think, $50 million over the next 2 years.
Right.
So these guys are going to just continue to get more money.
You know who pays for it, right?
The fans.
It's the fans.
Absolutely.
Fans always pay for it. Now, there should be a system where it should be by what you do on the field. I mean, to an extent, that's what it should be. No more of this, I'm up for a contract, so I deserve to be the highest paid when you're not. If you're not the highest, if you don't perform better than all the other positions, then you should not be the highest paid player.
How did Waller get $17 million a year
from
the Raiders? Saying. What was that? What were they thinking?
That throws everything off, and then what do? They go and trade him because we don't want to pay him that, so we'll trade him.
Yeah,
to a team that needs a tight end, right?
Yeah, and he stunk. So it wasn't even like he was earning that money. Listen, some other guy, Mark Andrews, very quietly too. He came in at 6 on this at $14 million, and you think about what he's meant to the Baltimore Ravens. He's pretty much been their only receiver till this season when they actually decided they were going to pick up some guys. So a lot of these guys, I'm going to question. Listen, there's all these different structures. Wide receivers get X amount. Quarterbacks, obviously the highest paid in the league. Defensive linemen, especially ends, get pretty high. But now you're starting to look, the tight ends are saying, look, if I got a guy that's giving me 110 receptions and 12 touchdowns, he might have to be in the $20 million range at some point. Like tight ends may get to that 20 million point because if you're at 17 now, it only makes sense to get a tight end at 20 million plus. And the only position that's really struggling with this is running back.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay the running back anymore. They're like,
No,
they're
because
done.
they can just pick them up off the scrap
Yeah,
heap and they
it's
still get the same numbers.
dime a dozen on the poor running backs. They're the ones seeing their contract. Because what Barkley get? $10 million for the next season. Like, you think about it, what he meant to the Giants. Obviously, Hawkinson very good, but I would say Barkley was more valuable, and he got less money because he's a running back.
Yeah. Yep. Go figure, right? I mean, this is all just backwards, and it's look. I mean, we seen it in basketball too, and the NFL has perfected these salary climbs for well over 10 years now. I mean, you're looking at players, and when we talk about that tight end list, how many of those players are going to be on that list that their careers didn't even match up to 1 year for these tight ends now, and they're really not as good as what they used to be.
Agreed. So next story we're going to talk about, I know how excited we always try to cover some of our local teams, and just in case you didn't know what he looked like, we're going to bring a picture up of Matt Corral. He is now the backup quarterback for the New England Patriots. Bailey Zappi cut and Cunningham cut, now signed to the practice squad. Here is your backup, week 1 for the New England Patriots. Ron, your thoughts on this move and what it means for the New England Patriots?
I can already see it now, and I don't want to jinx him, but I think who is going to get knocked out of the game, and then we're going to have to rely on this guy. And Bill should be ashamed.
But what does this say? So, Patriots quarterback room is crazy. It is. At one point, James, there was one quarterback on the team.
It's not just a quarterback room that's a little crazy.
Yeah, I think they got 2 running backs right now on the team, on their roster. This is crazy. I will say this, Ron. If you don't tell me this is a vote of confidence for Mac Jones, basically the Patriots are saying, look, and I wasn't a Zappy guy anyway. I thought he was an average quarterback. He got lucky a couple games. Like, everybody was like, oh, he should be starting. He's not a starting quarterback. To me, this says, Mac Jones, this is your season to prove if we're going to go forward with you, if we're going to decide to sign you long-term, and we're going to try to build around you. That's what this move to me says, because now you're looking at a guy who was a 3rd-round pick last season. If he can pick up this offense, again, he's still a good quality quarterback at that point. They move on from Mac Jones. Why do we, after last season, do you have that much confidence? Because he didn't have an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you can't.
You cannot judge Mac Jones for last season.
I don't blame him for last year. That is squarely on the shoulders of Bill Belichick. Squarely on his shoulders. And, and I remember him saying, oh, if it doesn't work, it's my fault. Oh, blame me, right? He did all that stuff. All of that stuff, right? The whole blame him thing. Well, we blamed him. I don't know about anybody else. I didn't hear, people talking, saying, oh, yeah, Bill did not do a good job. Everybody still praises this guy like his crap don't stink, But let me tell you, it stunk last year, and it was all his fault. He may have destroyed a quarterback.
You can't blame. You're right, James. You can't blame him for experimenting.
Experimenting. Who puts a defensive coordinator as your offensive coordinator?
But you could clearly see it wasn't working, and yet he refused to make any changes.
Right.
And I think that's where sometimes you see teams sometimes pull the plug too fast. You go, oh my God, they got rid of that coordinator. It's been 2 weeks. This clearly wasn't working.
Right.
And yet they stuck it out, and now everybody has this bad taste about Mac Jones. But when realistically, Mac Jones was playing a defensive quarterback position because that's all they did is dink and dunk. It was screen plays. If Ramondre Stevenson, your leading receiver, because you wouldn't throw to wide receivers because it wasn't part of the game plan.
Yeah.
So you can't blame Mac Jones for that. You have to see what he's able to do this season with a legitimate offensive coordinator. And if he can't perform, then it's on Mac. This season is completely on Mac. But
Yeah,
he can't sit
because
back.
he has all-star wide receivers.
What I'm saying is, look, if he can grasp an offense and at least look like a legitimate quarterback, you may say the talent, then they have to surround him with better talent, which again, remember, New England's like 4th highest in possible spend next season. So they have money. They will be able to spend. And we can sit back. Ron, you were with us 2 years ago when we did that show and everybody was signing with New England. And we thought they were the greatest thing in the world. Guess what, though? The signings at least got them to the playoffs. They got them to the playoffs. Granted, they didn't show up for the playoffs. That's a whole other story for a whole other time. But I will say this. If you can see legitimate, some strengths out of Mac Jones this season, then they go out and spend some money to get some of these top quality offensive weapons. And now you can legitimately say, hey, we're back.
Wait a minute. How many playoff wins does Mac Jones have?
0.
Okay. How many does Dak have?
The same. And again, you mid-tier. Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady for the first few years. Tom Brady was a mid-tier quarterback. They won with a mid-tier quarterback. People can sit back. Tom Brady was a mid-tier quarterback. They barely threw the ball. 3 playoff wins for Dak Prescott. I mean, we talk about talent. They have some talent. But it should be a lot more than that, don't you think, James? That's how I look at it.
But this is what I'm saying.
Dak is mid-tier as well. Okay, so there you go. So again, think about what Dak has from a Micah Parsons, who's probably one of the best defensive players in the NFL today. They have some offensive weapons.
They have an offensive line.
They have an offensive line when healthy, right? So they've built a solid team around them.
Top tier receivers at their disposal.
And I will say that they get to the playoffs. So all I'm saying is you can build a team around Mac Jones and get into the playoffs. What happens from there is more about coaching in the playoffs. And that's why I think Dallas lost more than they've won, because of the coaching decisions in the playoffs. So you get a Bill Belichick with a mid-tier quarterback, but solid talent around him. Guess what? They got a shot to go to the Super Bowl. That's why we traded for Trey Lance. Here we go. Trey, bring him on, baby. Bring Trey in. Let's see how this works out. I mean, he's 2-2 on his career. So Trey Lance, ready to go in Dallas.
Is that his total career? Like he barely played at all anywhere.
Trey Mania, baby. Sign him up.
It's like, how does a guy that never plays get so much hype?
It's the what if.
Yeah, what if he actually plays?
What if he plays?
What if?
So I think the New England Patriots have a great opportunity this season to at least see what they've got.
Yeah.
And now you
see what they got.
And now you back them up with a guy that, listen, a 3rd-round pick is not a bad spot for a quarterback. So there is some talent there. Maybe they can get more out of him. And if that's the case, you move on from Mac, and then maybe this is your starting quarterback next season for the New England Patriots. That's crazy to think about.
That's really crazy to think about. That's scary.
I think it was worth the trade.
I
agree, James. I mean, what'd they give up? A 4th-round pick? 4th-round pick? For a number 1 pick? Not number 1. First round, third overall?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hell of a deal. The guy's only, you know what I mean? He didn't play last year because he was hurt. And the year before that, he didn't play because he was hurt.
And the year before that, he didn't play because
he wasn't in the league. Oh, actually, he sat out his college. I think his senior year.
That's why I said that.
But listen, there's potential.
So like I said, there's a lot of hype for a guy that has never played.
Yeah, 4th-round pick and $1 million. Yeah, I mean, it was worth it. It's worth taking a poke at it. But if Kyle Shanahan, who's considered a very good quarterback guru coach,
yeah,
if he can't get more out of this guy, then I would question, can Mike McCarthy in Dallas?
No. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's great. He can't get enough out of Dak. And I mean, come on. He doesn't get teams prepared, so
and James is a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I'm going to give James a split decision right now. Let's give James one. More likely, Mike McCarthy gets fired or Dak Prescott gets fired or gets traded if they don't win in the playoffs this year. What's more likely?
Both?
You got one option. This is how split decision works.
McCarthy.
You think McCarthy? You would go McCarthy? They don't trade Dak. They get rid of McCarthy.
Yeah.
James, you got an opinion on that? James's finger's broken now. Conveniently, we get the doubt. McCarthy's fired, unfortunately. He'd want to keep McCarthy and keep Dak.
He's wanting that.
Interesting.
He should be wanting that because that play where they ran out of time, that's McCarthy's fault. He didn't have that team prepared. That's his fault.
And then that last play last season where Ezekiel Elliott's your center, I don't even know what that was. Like, what kind of play calling was that? Jerry Jones loves Dak, but again, I think Jerry Jones knows that his time's running short to win another championship.
Absolutely.
And
is this year a bust, right?
Yeah, it may be. It may be. Hey, great discussion. We are going to move on to our starting five, Ron.
Starting five.
So our starting five this week is our top five starting tight ends. Who would we start and one on our team? I think McCartney is a great coach. Poor decisions, yes, but his pedigree is there. No, I agree with you there. Listen, he's won wherever he's gone. Starting five tight ends, Ron, you are first this week, my friend, so you can lead us off. I'm sure you have some honorable mentions.
Yeah, just a few. All right, honorable mentions. There's one big one that was very difficult for me. But I will give you Keith Jackson was one of my honorable mentions.
Keith Jackson, Philadelphia, great tight end.
Who also won a Super Bowl. Jimmy Graham was one of my honorable mentions. Who's trying to play for New Orleans again. Charlie Sanders, also an honorable mention. And Dave Casper.
Great Raiders, right?
Honorable
mention. Pitta.
And John Mackey, also an honorable mention.
John Mackey, yep. He's up
Mike
there.
Ditka.
The Bears.
Even though then one very, very large one, Jason Witten. It was tough for me. He was the one that was on that bubble, and I wavered back and forth, and I finally put him as my honorable mention.
And I think this is where this list got a little hazy for me, is because if you look at the numbers, back in the day to today, and obviously the league's changed, and it's a passing league, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So it was harder to put some of the older players in my starting five just based on what you've seen. Ron leaving Witten off the top five. But I also had Witten on my honorable mention. So he did not crack my top five. Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah.
Another great.
Yep.
A guy I can't stand, Shannon Sharp. But you have to respect what he was able to do at the tight end position.
All right. So now here's where we have a problem.
I can't stand Shannon Sharp.
Here's where we have a problem. If you left both of those off the list, then your list is wrong.
Okay. Anyway, and one that hurt me, and I wanted to put him on the top five just because I wanted to be a homer, but I couldn't.
Oh, no, no, don't even.
Mr. Big Ben Coates.
Oh, okay.
Ben Coates, I mean, you think about the stretch he had with him and Bledsoe.
Else with that, and I was like, you're out of your mind.
The stretch with Bledsoe, I mean, those guys were just so good. Dallas Clark with Peyton Manning and what he was able to do, another guy that could have made the list but didn't for me. But I guess we go to the starting five. James, as you're chiming in, because I know this was your list, my friend, I'm sure you got some. At number 5, who do you got, Ron?
You got some explaining to do.
Lucy?
All right, number 5, I, in fact, did put Travis Kelce in there. Like I said, it was tough for me.
Travis Kelce at 5?
At 5. At 5, yes. I think the other 4 are better.
Wow.
And, so Travis Kelce, I put at number 5, and I know he's not done yet.
Wow.
But I think the guys that are above him were that much better.
Okay.
And, like he said, it was a different time for most of those players.
Yeah.
And I went with Kelce, but he could climb, up higher than maybe 2 of these guys.
Okay. Shannon Sharp at 5 for James. Travis Kelce. Honorable mention for me. You guys are off your rocker. I went Kellen Winslow at 5.
Oh my God! Really?
Kellen Winslow at 5.
Above Witten?
Yep.
And above Shannon Sharp? You're crazy.
I'm not putting Shannon Sharp on any top 5 list. I don't care.
Oh my God!
I would never do it.
Oh my Lord! That's
Never
just bad.
Bad.
Kellen Winslow. I'm looking at his numbers right now. No.
I'm doing it.
No.
I'm doing it.
Like, he's not even... Okay, so 541 receptions. 6,700 yards. 12.5 yards per reception, which is way down on the list. 45 touchdowns. He has no number that matters. No number.
I like the player. I told you. This was a rush through for me on this week with this top 5. But I like Kevin Winslow, and I can't stand Shannon Sharp.
You should be ashamed.
I can't stand Shannon Sharp, and I will
Don't put
continue.
Witten in there. Witten's way back. Look at Witten compared
I'm not
to
putting a
him.
Cowboy either. I was very biased on this list this week.
Yeah, you think?
Okay, I should have put Ben Coates in to really piss people off, but I didn't. I didn't. Who do you got at 4?
I have Shannon Sharp.
Shannon
Sharp deserves to be on that list. 815 receptions. Okay, you can boo all you want.
You're not a Patriot fan. You're not a Patriot fan. Don't even talk to me about the Pats anymore.
815 receptions. That is fourth of the tight ends, right? 10,060 yards, 5th of all the tight ends. 12.3 yards per reception. 62 touchdowns.
That was 17 less than Winslow.
Yes,
it's not that bad. And again, in a passing league. So go ahead.
All right. So in a passing league, wait.
They were passing more by the time Shannon Sharp was playing, but go ahead.
Wait. When was Winslow in?
Winslow's like in the early 80s.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
8 Pro Bowls. Winslow 5.
Okay.
4 All-Pro. Winslow had 3.
Okay. So there you go. It's close.
He also won 3 Super Bowls.
And
Winslow got nothing.
And now we got to listen to him with Stephen A. Smith now. I'm not garbage. Shannon Sharp. Can't stand him. Can't stand him.
It doesn't matter.
Ever since he got Patriot, you need to call in. You need to call in the reserves. Blah 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 crap.
Right. I can't wait.
I lost respect with him.
Who the heck you have at number 4?
Antonio Gates. I agreed with James on
Wait,
that.
Oh my God, you have Kelce above Gates?
Yep. Yep.
Oh my God. I can't.
James has Jason Witten at 3. You're number 3?
Oh my God,
You're number 3?
Oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Go ahead. You're 3, Ron, please.
My number 3 is Antonio Gates. When you look at his numbers, I mean, first of all, 116 touchdowns. That's number 1 for the tight ends.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Like, how do you not?
What's Kelce got for touchdowns?
69.
69. He's still got another 6-7 years.
I get that, but it doesn't have it yet.
Okay.
He doesn't
Doesn't
have
mean
it
he
yet.
can't get there.
No, it doesn't
So
mean that.
I'm going with the future
But he's
prospect.
also number 2 in receptions at 955. Number 3, rather. Sorry, number 3. He's also number 3 in yards with
He's a
11,841.
very good tight end. I agree with you.
He's got 8 Pro Bowls.
Yep.
He's got 3 All-Pro.
Yep.
Who's your number 3?
Rob Gronkowski, baby, coming in, the Grunk at 3. I am homering it up. Grunk, what he meant to that Patriot organization, that tight end position, by far the greatest Patriot, one of the greatest Patriots of all time, behind Tom Brady. Rob Gronkowski at 3. The big fella.
You have. Please tell me you don't have Travis Kelce ahead of Gronk.
Rob Gronkowski at 3. What do you got for number 2?
Oh my God, you should be ashamed.
At number 2.
You should be ashamed.
Okay.
You're not a Patriot fan. Number 2, I have Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez, very good.
Tony Gonzalez. And I struggled with this because I like his numbers better than everybody. There's one number that you know. There's one number that he did not get.
The Super Bowl.
And that is a Super Bowl.
Yeah. No
So that's why he's number 2, because his numbers dictate number 1, right? Number 1 in receptions, 1,325. Number 1 in yards, 15,127. Number 2 in touchdowns with 111. 14 Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pro. I mean,
he just moved Witten up to 3rd. James. No, he had him at 3. Oh no, he moved Gates up to 2.
He's
and
wrong.
put Gronk in at 4.
You guys don't know what you're talking about. So Tony Gonzalez, number 2.
Tony Gonzalez, agree at number 2 for me as well. Tony Gonzalez.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up.
James has Tony Gonzalez at 1. No,
he went 1.
Up. 1.
I'm gonna throw up.
1. Who do you got at number 1, Ron?
I've got Gronk.
Witten is better than Grunk.
I've got Gronk. Look, barring injuries, this guy would have smashed all the records. Okay, when you look at the games played. 621, not even half of Gonzalez, right? If he played the same amount as Gonzalez, and I know injuries are a big part of it, right? I mean, he's got 92 touchdowns and played less games than almost everybody.
That he was dominant.
He was, in fact, the best tight end we've ever seen because not only does he get the offense at a total of 15 yards per reception, which is second to John Mackey, who had 15.8. His ability to block better than any tight end out there. Better than anyone. And when you throw that in, and the fact that he was just pure greatness on the football field. 4 All-Pro. So he was the best at his position for 4 years, and the man was injured like 4 of them.
Gonzalez, he says, better blocker. That's James.
No, he's not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're wrong. I know you're wrong. But he's got 4 Super Bowls too. Okay, and that to me was the difference between him and Gonzalez. I think he would have smashed all the records if he could have stayed healthy. But he's so large that they had to cut him down at the knees, and that's what caused him to get those injuries, as you know, seeing it all the time. How often was he just dragging guys, walking towards the end zone, dragging people on the ground, and they all had their skid marks all over them, right? How many times did he just step on people?
He was a great. I'm agreeing with you.
He should be
I
the
don't know.
number one. He's the best tight end. That's what you want. That's what you want out of a tight end. He does everything.
Okay. And James went Gonzalez at 1. I went Travis Kelce at
Yeah,
number
yeah,
1.
You're smoking crack.
He's a wide receiver in a tight end body. He can block. He's the best wide receiver in the league today.
He can block.
Tight end, sorry.
But does he?
He's the best tight end in the league today.
Yes, he is.
And what I will say is this, that I think that his future for the next 5 years with Patrick Mahomes, he's going to shatter some records.
Well, that's why I said he can
Gonna
move
shatter
up,
records.
right? That's why I said that. He can move up.
He can
But I
run.
wasn't ready to put him above, Gates,
No.
Gonzalez, Gronk, or even Shannon Sharp.
If I was picking a tight end today, I'm going Travis Kelce to stop my team. Gronk, my backup.
Oh, get out of here. You would not. You're out of your mind.
I would.
You're crazy.
I would. I
You're
would.
crazy. There's no way you pick Kelsey over Gronk. There's
I
no
would. I did. I did it. I did it. And it's done.
Yeah,
and now it's
and
now
that's
it's
why
out
your
there
team
for the
doesn't win
world.
Super Bowls. My team does.
And now the world knows.
Great. So you over there, you can take Kelsey. I'll take Gronk any day of the week. I'll take him.
All right, my friend. Great one. Do we have a position that we want to do next week?
Well, we should do a different sport than
football
or
football.
Football. So I mean that leaves what? NBA, NHL, football.
No, we're not doing football. That's you can save that one for just for kicks.
Oh, come on. So then let's go NBA.
You want to do point guards? You want to do shooting guard? We already know.
See, that's too.
What do you want to do?
It doesn't even entice me to do. I mean, I guess you'd have to go big men.
You want to go big guys? Centers?
Yeah.
All right. You're starting 5 centers next week.
Because I know we're going to be different on that one, too.
NBA. Bill
Sorry,
Walton.
centers.
Bill Walton, number 1.
Oh, my God. Please don't.
The potential was there.
Please don't. I don't care about your potential.
Rob Williams,
What
baby.
do you have in your glass over there?
Rob Williams. All right, let's talk some NBA. Next week, James, if you're still live here, you're starting 5 centers all time. So NBA FIBA's going wild here. Some big games coming up. We will actually do a prediction later on in the show, so stay tuned for that as well. But is Anthony Edwards the next big star in the NBA? A lot of hype during this tournament about Anthony Edwards and what he's been able to do with the USA team.
He was able to beat up on Jordan. Not the man, but the country.
Send his big boys. Let's go. All right. Yeah, listen, though. The guy, Jordan, is leading the FIBA basketball in scoring. So, I mean, I looked at it from this standpoint. I think Anthony Edwards is a very good player. But if you look at what Minnesota Timberwolves have done, they've kind of not lived up to expectations. I know you had them pretty high during our NBA preview show. We kept thinking like, hey, it's all going to come together. It never did. But I can't put him ahead of the guy who's leading the scoring average in FIBA basketball, and that's Luka Doncic. That is the future of the NBA right now. If you can get Luka to honestly come into shape, Kyrie plays basketball and not worrying about everything else, they have a potential to go to the playoffs and make some noise.
Oh, absolutely.
Luka to me is by far the future of the NBA.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I've been raving about this guy for a couple of years now, right? I think he's a hell of a player. They just got to give him something to work with. I mean, really, and I look, I mean, Kyrie's a great player, right? I mean, we know that his skill level is out of this world, Probably, I would definitely put him top 5 players in the league, but his head is just at the bottom 5. And that's the problem. until somebody can control Kyrie Irving, and nobody can, I'm just going to say it's just a null and void team because of that factor. Now, with the skill they possess, they can actually make the playoffs, but I don't think they can make a championship run because of the head case.
Yeah, agreed. I don't even put. So I was starting to look at some of the young talent that's still. Jason Tatum, I know seems like he's been in the league for 15 years, but he's only been like 6 years in the league. I don't put him ahead of Jason Tatum. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's playing for Oklahoma City, he's been a dominant player. He's
Are
actually
you talking about Anthony? Or
yeah,
are you talking
versus
okay.
yeah, versus.
All right. No,
I say Luka's
because I didn't know if you were talking about him or Luka.
No, not ahead of Luka. I think Luka by far. But then even Devin Booker, I would put ahead of Anthony Edwards.
Yes, I would too.
Edwards 23rd in scoring last season in the NBA. That's not going to cut. He's not even a top 10 scorer. So there was a 4-letter network that was really hyping up Anthony Edwards as the next star. That's why this story came up to me, because I still think that they like to hop on something when somebody's hot. And he was playing some good basketball for the USA team, and, do your thing. But I would say this, there's still opportunities where there's much better guys in the league right now today.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so he's playing really well in FIBA. Yay. Okay, Jordan's the highest scoring team in the tournament, right? Ooh. So who have they played, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's not really, I mean, when you think about it, remember the days when, the Boston Red Sox would play exhibition games and they whooped the poor Sox, right? Big deal. That's what this is equivalent to. It's like you're playing really a minor league team.
Most of them. There
right.
are some really good talent.
No, there are, but I mean, pump the brakes a little, okay? Yeah, he's lighting it up. Okay, that's great, but really,
yeah,
who cares?
Yeah, he's the top scorer on the USA team, but it doesn't. To me, I don't quite. And again, if any of these guys, I would put him ahead of him. But I just thought it was an interesting story. I figured we'd bring it up today. We're gonna move on though. We're gonna talk some.
Stay on ER. I had to get it in there.
Every time. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball. So, a lot going on here at baseball. Can I say this first and foremost? I can't stand this waiver wire thing. I think it's the dumbest thing baseball does. So you don't trade the guys during the season, during the trade deadline. So then you can just waive them, and these teams have the ability to pick these guys up. Obviously, for a lesser fee, you know what I mean? The cost is cheaper. But it just, to me, then why do you even have a trade deadline?
Right.
Just let them do this.
Baseball's been doing it for years, right?
So we're going to bring up the two fellas because I really like this story, and I really like what the Cincinnati Reds did. They signed Harrison Bader and Hunter Renfroe off of waivers. Is this enough to get them into the playoffs? Currently a game back of the wild card spot against behind San Francisco. I like what they did because these two guys, as bad as they're playing, they are playoff tested players. Bader with obviously St. Louis and the Yankees, Renfroe with Tampa Bay and in Boston. You get two guys in there that may not be bond burners and going to tear it up, but they have experience to get these young kids now to say, hey, this is what we got to do to win games to get to the playoffs.
And I think they are going to leapfrog over San Francisco. I like those pickups. And I'll tell you, Hunter Renfroe is a difference maker in the outfield. Let me tell you, I watched him in Boston, and I was a little upset that they let him go and brought in Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie.
And it's like, look.
Even Bader's very good in the field. He
has a cannon in the outfield. I mean, he led the league in assists when he was in Boston. I mean, and the guy can hit. Maybe he's struggling this year, but I think he'll put it together, and he might be big
and again,
down the stretch.
242, 111 hits, 19 home runs, 56 RBIs for Renfroe.
And
mean,
that's
it's
a
not
bad year.
horrible. And that's not horrible. I mean, you
Right.
think about what guys bat today. Beta a little bit different, 240, 69 hits, 7 home runs, 37 RBI, 17 stolen bases. So again, brings a little speed, but I just like the playoff experience. I thought this was a very good move.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I thought this was a very good move.
Yeah, and
I'm-
I think, like I said, I think they're going to leapfrog over San Francisco because those are difference makers.
On the other hand, the Cleveland Guardians picked up Lucas Giolito. And do you think a little too late for them? Again, 11 and a half back in the wild card, 5 games behind the Twins to win the division. Their only shot is the division at this point.
Yeah, with the Guardians, I don't think they picked him up for this year. For
That's what I was thinking, right? Re-sign him. Try to right now they're building their rotation.
This is all trying to re-sign him and using him for next year because the way he's pitched this year is not Giolito. He's a much better pitcher than that, and I think that's going to be one of those guys that they're gonna really focus on and make sure he's right.
Yeah, if you look at that division, right? It's theirs for the taking.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he starts a couple of games and then they just shut him down, just to reassess him and to get him focused.
No, right. Listen, it's just weird, this waiver wire thing, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I don't like it at all.
It's like now everybody. So the Yankees gave up everybody. The Anaheim gave up. Well, L.A. Angels, whatever they're called, they gave up like 6 players. I think 5 of them got claimed. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. What's the point then? But whatever. Who the hell am I?
Who did the Red Sox give up?
I'm just a podcaster.
Was it Chris Sale?
Nope. Keeping him, baby. Gonna win you a championship, Chris Sale. So Ron, it is time for our new favorite segment, and that is split decision.
It's a fine line.
Split decision.
So the win is by split decision. Basically, we're gonna ask each other something that more likely, and we've got to basically debate why we would pick that decision. So you are first this week. You start us off with your first.
You're gonna like this one.
All right.
You're gonna like this. All right. Is it more likely that the Toronto Maple Leafs not make the playoffs?
Okay.
Or the Boston Bruins winning the division?
More likely, I would say the Boston Bruins winning the division. And the only reason why I would say that, I think they've got enough talent to get into the playoffs. I don't think they have enough talent to win the division. And I still think the 65 win thing's going to sting. It's going to haunt them a little bit this season because they knew their chance was last year.
But yet you're picking them. It's more likely to happen that they win the division.
No, that they don't win the division.
So you're going with Toronto then not making the playoffs.
No, that's more. You said more likely them not making the playoffs. I think Toronto will make the playoffs. I think Boston will not win the division. Isn't that how you're asking?
That's not what I said. No.
Say it again then. Maybe I misunderstood you.
Is it more likely
yes,
that the Toronto Maple Leafs don't make the playoffs?
So you're saying
or
they
the
won't
Boston
make the
Bruins win the division?
And I'm saying there's no way the Bruins win the division.
Okay, so you're saying that it's more likely.
Oh, so more likely
the Leafs don't make the playoffs.
No, then go the other way. I got what you're saying now.
Okay.
More likely that the Bruins win the division.
The Bruins win the division. Because you think that Toronto is absolutely making the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I was a little confused with that.
Yeah,
All right.
I guess so.
All right. All right. More likely the Boston Celtics win another championship or Jason Tatum does not finish his career as a Celtic.
All right. More likely that Boston wins the championship.
Wins another championship.
Or
Jason Tatum does not finish his career as a Celtic.
He's not going to finish his career as a Celtic.
You think he's gone?
I think it's more likely that happens.
More likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because so after they fail again this year, he could be gone.
You think that fat? No, I don't think so. But more likely Toronto misses the playoffs, James thinks.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and you got more likely Jason Tatum doesn't finish his career as a Celtic.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Your number 2.
My number 2. Oh, you're gonna love this one. If you thought the other one was
okay.
tricky,
I gotta pay attention. Okay, I gotta pay attention to what you're saying.
All right. is it more likely that Brock Purdy to finish the season as the starter
Okay.
or Trey Lance to start one game for Dallas?
It's more likely Trey Lance starts one game for Dallas. And that's only because Dak's had more injury issues that I could see him, again, broke the finger last year. A couple of years ago was the ankle or whatever it was that he blew out. So I could see him having an injury where Trey Lance does start.
So he'll start over Cooper Rush. Is what you're
Yes,
saying.
I think so.
That's what I wanted to hear
More
from
likely
you.
Trey Lance starts. Even James agrees.
That's what I wanted to hear from you. That's what I wanted. You know, because I thought it was interesting because Brock Purdy could get hurt. We don't know. And he might not finish the season, just like last year, right?
But you got that one. You're telling me one start. I got Trey Lance for one start.
Right.
Next season.
All right.
Good.
That's where I wanted it to go.
Good job. I think Trey is actually secret QB2 over Cooper Rush. I agree.
I agree with that,
I
too.
think that Cooper Rush magic, I think that was just a flash in the pan, too. All right. My second split decision. Which MLB manager is more likely to be fired after this season? Alex Cora or Aaron Boone?
Oh, my God. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. That's a good one, Eric. I'm going to say Aaron Boone. Because the Yankees are not sitting well with this. You know that. But, you know, I think the Red Sox are just blind and stupid. And they are just floating through it. They love Cora for whatever reason it is. The only chance that Corey even gets fired is if Bloom gets fired. And that needs to happen. They both need to happen. And frankly, for the Yankees, that needs to happen too. But that's more likely the Yankees. Because the Yankees don't sit on this.
So Heimblum or Brian Cashman more likely to get fired?
Cashman
by the Yankees. So you think Yankees clean house?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
They ain't going to sit that. And the Red Sox are going to be like, oh, should we do that? I don't know. Should we do it? No, but I really like them. So we'll keep them another year.
Oh, my.
You know it. You know it's true.
In the words of Milli Vanilli, girl, you know it's true. Yes.
That's right.
Well, not actually their words. It was somebody else's words, but you know where we're going.
They lip synced it.
There you go. They're lip synced words.
Wow, I'm even getting no Christmas card from Milli Vanilli. I would have never thought that was possible.
What are we doing here? What are we doing, Paul Milli Vanilli?
I didn't think that was possible. Like, I would never think that we would mention Milli Vanilli on this show.
Kenny joining the show. Thank you, Kenny, for joining. So, Ron, we're going to talk some NHL. And just the story I thought was odd. Is it Carl Hagelin? Did I say that correctly? I know you're...
No, not even close.
Carl
Hagelin.
Hagelin?
Yeah.
Carl Hagelin retiring after an eye injury. And I guess it was a stick that actually during practice. Are you not surprised when these injuries come up that they don't happen more often in hockey?
Yeah, you would think they would. But the reactions for players are actually
not even giving Hagelin some love on the screen. Poor guy retired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. We'll give him right there. There we go. Kind of looks like Lawrence there from Jacksonville.
I'm thinking Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone.
No,
I got Macaulay Culkin on that one.
Although, if you say Macaulay Culkin and a Brad Marchand spawn, I would say
that's
that.
It. That's the look. That's the look. So I was thinking about this too. Evander Kane with the slice to the neck with the ski.
Yeah.
Like, I just surprised these things don't happen more.
Yeah. And I'll even go one further, and you might not even know who this is, but Bobby Carpenter.
He's a linebacker for Dallas.
No,
not that Bobby Carpenter.
From the NHL.
Oh.
He was skating towards, the back of the net, and he hit a rut and blew out his knee, and it took him a long time to rehab. And, but those kind of injuries are freak accidents. Why don't more players hit ruts in ice, and go down? and more sticks to the face and
Yeah,
stuff.
you would
I
just think
mean,
that's like
you would think with the skates slicing somebody. I mean, there's a lot of potential for tragic injuries like that. And I am surprised it hasn't happened more throughout time. But hockey players are pretty resilient, and they know how to protect themselves. For the most part. I mean, sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
Especially when they're cheap shots in the back of the head. But but for the
Yeah, but we're
most part,
talking
they
freak
know how to
accidents.
protect
Like that's what
themselves.
I'm saying. Those freak accidents where you think
Yeah.
all the shots they take, a slap shot, something where the stick would just come up and hit somebody. You
Yeah,
don't see it. So it was just a weird story, tragic, honestly, because if that's
yeah,
how
it
you end
is.
your career,
He was a
and it
good
was
player.
during practice.
Yeah,
It wasn't even in a game. It was practice. We ain't talking about a game.
Practice.
Not a game. Not a game.
Not a game.
Not a
It was
game.
Practice.
Practice. See, Allen Iverson had it right. See, you don't practice, he would have never got hurt. And there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
See,
That's why
AI,
they
baby.
kept out Joe Burrow, right?
That's it, Joe. Yeah, now all of a sudden he can practice, right? The whole preseason couldn't practice. All right, my friend, it is pick and roll time.
It's
Hi.
time for Pick and Roll.
Pick and roll segment tonight is these players. So again, episode 35. Remember that. It's always key to our pick
This
and
was
rolls.
a hard one.
These players have all had the highest goals scored in a season after the age of 35. So they've all these guys after the age of 35 had the most goals scored. And that was Alex Ovechkin, Teemu Solani, Gordie Howe, Phil Esposito, Brandon Shanahan, Johnny Busek, and Brett Hull. We are going to rank them from 7 to 1, Ron. You are first this week, my hockey guy, so I know you'll get it right. I probably hacked this thing because I always mess up on hockey.
I'll tell you what, though, Eric. I don't know if it's even possible to get it wrong. Like, all these players are great players, right?
They are. They were.
I mean,
their numbers are great.
The worst on the list has got 556 goals, right?
That's crazy.
So you want every one of them.
Yes.
Right? If we're picking a draft of all-time players and these guys are on your team, you're thinking, I'm going to win.
Yeah, you did pretty well. You think you did pretty well.
So,
even after the age of 35.
Right.
Would have been pretty good.
Exactly. So with that, I went Johnny Busek, number 7. And that number 7 is very meaningful because that is why I put him at number 7. And it is that giant -7.
Yes. Yeah.
On ice, right? -7 for his career. And that's unacceptable to me. When you score that many goals and you're still a minus, there's something wrong. So 92 game-winning goals, 1,300 plus points, 2 Stanley Cups, 2 All-Stars. I mean, those are great numbers that he has, except for that -7.
Only guy on this list with a minus.
Right. So number 6, and I thought 7 and 6 were very easy to pick. After that, crapshoot.
Yeah.
Brett Hull, I put at number 6. 741 goals, and I'm putting him at number 6. 6.
That's crazy, Ron.
Again, plus 23. You score 741 of them, you might think you'd be a little better than that. 110 game-winning goals, 2 cups, 3 All-Stars, a Hart Trophy, and a Pearson, and I have him at number 6.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Number 5, great hockey player again, Teemu Solani. 684 goals, 773 assists, a plus 95, 110 game winners. He's won a cup, a Calder Trophy, 4 All-Stars, a Rocket Richard Trophy for the most goals in a season, and of course, I don't know what that is. I can't read my writing.
Masterton,
yeah. So, I mean, a great hockey player. I mean, but he did have Wayne there.
Yeah.
Just saying. Number 4, And I love this player. I wish he played in Boston. To me, he's a total package kind of player. Brendan Shanahan. 656 goals, 698 assists, a plus 151, tough as nails. He did not shy away from scrapping with someone. It didn't matter who it was. This guy was tough. All around great hockey player. He could do it at both ends of the ice. 109 game winners, 3 Stanley Cups. So he does bring that championship pedigree to your team. And 3 All-Stars. He should have been in more All-Star games, to be honest. Number 3. And I cannot believe I'm actually saying this. Gordie Howe at number 3.
Wow.
801 goals, 1,049 assists, a plus 160, 121 game winners, 4 Stanley Cups, 21 All-Stars, and 6 Art Ross trophies. But you know what he didn't have, Eric? He didn't have the Hart Trophy for MVP.
Gordie Howe?
Gordie Howe.
6 Hart
No,
trophies.
6 Art Ross is scoring titles.
No, he got 6 Hart trophies too.
Wait, did he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, well, that changes everything then. So he's number 2.
Okay.
I looked at it and it's like, wow, that's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
odd. He didn't have a Hart Trophy.
6 of them. It's okay though. I will give you.
So, all right. So he's number 2.
All right.
Number 3 then would
List
be
on the
Alex
fly.
Ovechkin.
We're gonna call this now.
Alex Ovechkin would be
Okay.
number 3.
Okay.
822 goals. He only had 3 Hart trophies. 12 All-Stars. Great numbers. But I put Phil Esposito at number 1. And the reason why I did that, because he played so much less games than Gordie and Alex Ovechkin. And, when you look at the goals, 85 away from Ovechkin, he played a lot more games. And, the man had a plus 252.
Yeah.
Okay, this means, let's put this in perspective. His line is going to score 252 times before you get one.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
Such good numbers.
That's crazy. 118 game winners. It's only 6 less than Alex Ovechkin, who played 80-some more games. And he still had 8 All-Stars, 5 Art Ross, 2 Hart, 2 Pearson. This guy was a great player in a time that was much different. You had to be tough to stay on the ice.
Yeah.
You had to be. And let's face it, Ovechkin is playing in a time where you can't really hit him.
Yeah. It's a difference. Yeah. It's
And
no
Gordie
different.
Howe, to his credit, he played in a tough time, and he was tough.
Yeah. It's similar to what we talked about with the tight ends, right? Like back in the
Right.
day to today,
Yeah.
the numbers, you can't really look
little
at them
different.
sometimes.
It's a little different.
Yeah, we were pretty close. I think we did all right too. I went 7. I went Busick as well.
Yep.
And again, I think you expressed all the numbers. That -7, I had to put him at 7. Brett Hull, I also went at 6.
Yep.
And again, I just think that if you look at some of the other guys, his numbers just didn't correlate the same way. I went Shanahan at 5.
Yep. I can see that.
And then I went Timu at 4.
Yeah, no, that's
So
I can see that.
I had that flip flop. I had Ovechkin at 3.
You're splitting hairs, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what stat did I like more than the other? And I thought I really like the fact that more assists and more goals by Teemu Solani. That's why I put him ahead of Shanahan.
Yep.
Ovechkin at 3, and I agree with you. And I think I put him less because of the 1 cup.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a knock that he hasn't won more. And then I differed here too. Phil Esposito, I went at 2, and I went Gordie Howe at 1, and Gordie Howe because of the 6 championships. So the 4 cups and then the WHA championship, he won that twice. plus 21 All-Stars, dude. That's pretty impressive.
I know it is. It's
21 times they thought you were one of the best players in the league. We know All-Stars how they go sometimes, but that's still pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like I gave Esposito credit for playing less games, But again, well, longevity, right?
Yeah.
So there is something to be said about that when you can still do it late in,
And like I said, all these guys, think about it, 35 years or older. Yeah. They all had top scores. So that the top 7 guys, 35 and older in the season. Yeah. And I think Howe might have been on there twice, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, he played for like 5 decades.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive what he's done. I mean, when you get to play, the game with your sons that are, close to 30.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. That is insane. All right, my friend, it is prediction time, and we had some really good results last week. James, Kenny are on there. Kenny 5-2, James 4-3, over 500 now. James, congrats. Kenny 57%. My man is making some moves there. Me and you both 6-2 last week, Ron. So we are in a dogfight. We'll see how this all ends up by the end of the season. But we got some good matchups this week, so we're kind of excited. If you are joining us live, let us know who you're picking for each one of these games so that we can get your name on our prediction chart. Ron, week 1 of the NFL is kicking off too, but we're going to start off with Major League Baseball, 9-4 September. We're already in September 1st today. Kind of crazy. Houston Astros at the Texas Rangers. That's a 3-game series.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, right? This is going to tell a lot. I'm going with Houston. I got to go with who I've said all along, right? So I'm going to go with them. And look, they're a good team. They are a team to be reckoned with, and it is a dogfight going on in that West.
Yeah, and listen, the Rangers struggling a little bit. Might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I went Houston as well. James going Houston. I think it's interesting to see that. I was talking to Mickey, who does our baseball rankings for us every week, and he said it. He goes, it's kind of crazy to think about the Rangers may not make the playoffs as dominant as they've been all year. And now they're just starting to fall right off the face of the earth because the team that we're going to talk about next has leapfrogged them.
Yeah.
That's the Seattle Mariners at the Cincinnati Reds. Both these teams fighting for a playoff spot. That's the series starts on September 4th as well. I personally think Seattle playing some phenomenal baseball. They have definitely overtaken, again, you talk Texas, and chasing Houston for that top spot. I'm going Seattle here.
Yeah, I went Seattle as well, Eric. And I like the moves that Cincinnati did, but it's not going to pay off yet.
Yeah.
Give it like a week, and that'll pay off for them. As long as they can stay right where they are for the next week, they'll be okay. But I went Seattle. They're too good right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Too well.
They're playing.
Julio Rodriguez is a beast.
They're playing phenomenal baseball. It's so good. So good to see Seattle back in the mix there. James went Seattle as well. I think Kenny might not be on anymore. September 1st. So tonight we got the Connecticut Sun at the New York Liberty round. WNBA action.
I'm going Liberty. Give me Liberty and give me justice. I mean, this is, it looks like the sun is going to set on this one.
Oh, look at all those. Sun setting on the Connecticut Sun. I went Liberty as well. Out of the two teams, I still think the Aces cream of the crop, but they did. Listen, Liberty has their number, the Aces. Oh, revenge game. James got Connecticut. Yeah, we both went New York.
Kenny's on his way up here. I think that's why he hasn't.
He may be. He was supposed to hit you up tonight, right?
Yeah.
September 7th, NFL kickoff, my friend. The season is now for real. This game counts. We've got the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody hyping up the Detroit Lions. This is the team this year. Campbell, head coach of the year. He's the top pick for that. I'm going Kansas City in a rout. I don't even think it's close.
I am also going Kansas City. I think I think the Lions will need to get a loss so that way they can come back down to earth and actually try to play the game before they win the game.
James, Detroit in an upset. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong because Kelsey's going to be on fire because he's going to be pissed off Ron didn't pick him at number 1. And he's going to go out to prove something to Ron this Thursday night. September 3rd, my friend, we got the Cookout Southern 500. That's in Darlington. We need to pick a top 5 driver. Who do you got?
I'm going with Mr. Top 5, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we've actually stunk.
And I'm going with Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah, he's had the most top 5 finishes. So I'm going to go with him.
All right. Driver I picked has done very well on this track over the last 8 races. Kevin Harvick. I think he's finished in the top 10 at least 7 times.
Yeah, every time I pick him, he fails.
Yeah, so I'm struggling. We're struggling. We've had a bad streak here. After we had like 5 weeks straight,
in a row, yeah.
we haven't been able to get a top 5 driver in. So let's see if this is the week. James, you got anybody for the NASCAR? Cookout Southern 500. He's got to go with Larson. This could be the week. All right. College football kicking off this week as well, Ron. We've got September 3rd, number 5, LSU Tigers at number 8, Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Okay, so I think Florida State is ranked falsely.
Okay.
Because I think that they needed a good matchup in the rankings to make it look good, right? I think LSU wins big and totally embarrasses FSU at home.
Okay. LSU, James, as well. It looks like you two are twinsies tonight. I went FSU, and I went FSU because I don't think Brian Kelly's that good of a coach. Came over from Notre Dame, that whole scandal, went to LSU. I think they're ranked way too high. I went FSU here. It's our only difference so far. September 3rd, big matchup in FIBA basketball. Both these teams undefeated, Ron, 3-0. Have not lost. Team USA versus Lithuania. Lithuania has always had a very good international team, so it should be a fun one.
All right, who's the big stars there?
I don't know. What was Lithuania?
Right.
Probably, if I looked it up, I'm sure. I'm going Team USA, though. I went USA as well.
I'm going USA.
James, who you got? James trying to crack over 500, man. Like tear the roof off. I think. Let's see.
I feel good.
Easy win.
Perfect this week for the first time. Somebody going perfect.
Okay, it's been a while.
Has anybody done it?
I think once. One time. I think it was Kenny. Kenny went perfect once. All right. So let's look at this, my friend. We are on to our final thoughts. That's how we end our show. But before we end our show and give you our final thoughts, Ron, tell all the wonderful people out there how they can be a sponsor of Sports Unfolded.
Absolutely, Eric. I'd be more than delighted. More than delighted. You can easily send us an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send you out all the information that you need to sponsor the show, but it's really as simple as the amount you need is what it would cost to go to your local coffee establishment, buying a large coffee and a chocolate donut. It's really easy and really inexpensive, and you can get thousands of eyes all over your ad. We'll read it off, and that way they can see it and hear it on the podcast.
Yeah, so many different ways. So audio podcasts, visual podcasts. Again, if you're in Southeast Connecticut, SEC TV, that's Public Access Channel 12. We are on there every Tuesday night as well. So if you're in the Southeast Connecticut area, your business will definitely be mentioned as well in this area on Public Access TV. Ron, we always have some fun, man. I love doing these shows. And it is time for our final thoughts. I'm a little sad because I great show tonight, but we're going to go into our final thoughts, and you are first this week. So your final thought.
All right. So I have 2 of them.
Whoa! Wow. The crowd is shocked right now. They don't even know what you know what they're gonna do.
I'm pulling an Eric.
All right.
I'm pulling an Eric. Hopefully, I remember my second one.
Okay.
But the first one really goes out to Major League Baseball, right? I mean, we say a lot of things about baseball, and it's negative mostly. I'll be the first one to admit I say a lot of negative things about Major League Baseball. But for the most part this year, I think they got all those rule changes pretty
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I mean, when you look at it and you see Cincinnati, Chicago, San Francisco, Arizona's been in it. I mean, now you're talking, Minnesota's in it, right? Seattle, Texas, Baltimore,
Yeah. Think about the teams that are on the bottom.
Marlins.
Yeah, you got it. Right?
Like,
Yankees, Boston, like at the bottom. Like you wouldn't
right.
expect that.
So, look, I think that is great for baseball. It'll be
Yeah.
terrible for ratings in the playoffs,
Yeah.
but it'll be great for baseball that these teams are relevant, and they got a shot at making history, and that to me is fantastic. Good job, Major League Baseball, on those rule changes, because teams like that really took advantage of those rules.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they really did, especially the pitch clock. Now you're putting pressure on those guys that are just standing there on the mound forever. You put pressure on them. So it evens up the playing field, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, I have to say rest in peace to Bob Barker.
Yes.
I mean, when I think about sports, in movies, it begins
Happy
and ends
Gilmore.
with Happy Gilmore,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that scene with Bob Barker beating the crap out of Adam Sandler,
Yeah.
it is one of the best scenes in movie history to me. I thought it was hilarious, and he spent 6,700 plus episodes on Price is Right. He made the show so much more than what it was, and rest in peace, Bob Barker.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great one, man. Yep. Rest in peace. So my final thought, Ron, I'm actually so pumped because Sports Unfolded will now be covering a new league. There's a new league that is formed that so excited about. PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League, is kicking off. They've announced 6 cities for its upcoming league. And those cities are, we'll go Canada first, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. You can understand why. New York, Minneapolis, and yes, in Boston, we will have our own team. I am so excited to see what they're able to do with this Professional Women's Hockey League. Listen, they're great in college, and it's a shame that they didn't have other avenues to go. About time that this league.
Wait, don't we have the Boston Pride?
Is it a professional? Is it hockey?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they're joining things then. Maybe they're joining this Professional Women's Hockey League. So I'm excited.
Boston Pride won a couple of championships.
Oh, you're right. But what league were they in? Now they starting this league. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe the NHL.
But it's another league. It
in
doesn't matter. I mean, that's great.
Backing this up. But it's awesome to see more hockey. It'll be
It
more
is.
hockey. It'll probably be during the NHL off season, so you get even more hockey. So it'll be fun. So I'm excited.
Will it be in the off season?
I would think it would make more sense. It's similar to WNBA. At least you're getting exposure that way.
In the
You're not gonna
summertime, playing hockey, though.
Right? It could be kind of cool. I'd look forward to that.
Ice
Cool.
hockey,
Get it?
kind of
Cool.
cool.
Get it? Haha.
Yeah.
Hey, that has been our show tonight. Everybody that joined us live, I want to thank you, James,
And
Kenny.
it's Kenny in the studio.
Kenny is in the house.
Kenny is in the studio.
Bring that man on. The big
Come on.
dog in the
Come on,
house.
Kenny. Come on.
I
big
cannot. The big dog in the
Dog.
house.
Big dog is in the studio. Let's see if we can somehow get him in here. Grab the chair.
I got
slide over a little.
Kenny in the house. I got one question for Kenny because I got a great show, guys. Thank you, James. I do have a question. I got a split decision for Kenny. Okay, Tuesday night, NFL preview show. More likely you pick the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl, or more likely Jared Goff to be the MVP? Which one?
Jared Goff to be the MVP.
Jared Goff MVP, more likely. Okay, I just want to know where we were going with that. It's always good to see you, my friend. We will see you Tuesday night as well. Tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Tuesday night for our NFL preview show. It is our third annual NFL preview show. So excited. Sports Unfolded. Hey, Kenny. James. Hey, we all love Kenny. We love the big dog. And he's in the house. You guys go listen to some jazz music tonight. Have a good time. And I will see you guys this Tuesday. So excited. All we ever ask for every single show is peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.